On 10 acres in Arlington, investigators say they found huge stashes of drugs and cash carefully buried on a property belonging to Cesar Valdez-Sanudo.
Mr. Valdez-Sanudo was overseeing a very broad drug trafficking organization.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Amy Jaquette says it was sophisticated and violent.
Mr. Valdez-Sanudo and his co-conspirators actively used threats and threats of violence in order to get people to comply and to pay back drug debts.
In order to follow his activities, investigators secured tracking warrants for more than 100 telephones and vehicles.
We had no idea the scope of the drug trafficking that Mr. Valdez-Sanudo was involved in before we were able to listen to those wiretap calls.
Law enforcement says that daily window into what was happening led to the seizure of a 49-pound load of methamphetamine, with the drugs disguised in Clorox and air mattress boxes. That was in November of 2020. About a month later, Valdez-Sanudo was arrested with 3 firearms in his vehicle and a homemade silencer. Then law enforcement searched his property. Inside a trailer, they found a map indicating where drugs were hidden and unearthed this: kilos upon kilos of meth, heroin, and fentanyl pills, along with 10 firearms and more than $300,000. Law enforcement says he also schemed to launder more than $1 million through casinos.
And that is after he would have lost some of the money to these jackpots at the casino. That's the amount he was taking away, is an incredible amount of profit.
A profit he's now being punished for.
And his attorney did point out that the defendant doesn't have a prior criminal history and argued that 15 years in federal custody is too long, but that is the sentence he received, and the U.S. attorney calls it appropriate given the harm these drugs are doing in the community. Live tonight in Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.